Really? There are no houses left in Raleigh? It can really feel that way if you're looking for one. For those of you who watched my live video with agents across the country talking about the real estate market, this news probably isn't a big surprise to you. There are about 70 people every day moving to Raleigh, and we just don't have anywhere to put them. There just aren't enough homes, and the more popular the location within the triangle, the worse the situation. In just a minute, I'm going to give you a color-coded graph that will show you a ratio of homes per population. So you're going to have a visual representation of what the market is really like here. It can be discouraging for some, but don't despair just yet. I'm also going to give you some advice on how to work around our lack of inventory in the triangle. There are still homes for sale, but you might have to consider some of these new options. If you need to be in the most popular locations, my red zones on the chart that you're going to see in just a minute, you can get into them, but it's going to cost you. Just think of it like a lot premium for new construction. Builders charge an extra fee for the most desirable lots if they're larger or in a better location. Nobody likes the first couple of lots in the neighborhood, for example. You're going to pay a premium for those lots. Similarly, when I'm buying a home in the red zones, you're going to have to come to the table with some cash. You're likely going to be bidding against cash buyers, and the only way to win those is to pay more than they do. You can also be creative with deposits and other criteria in the contract, but any way you slice it, you're going to pay more. If you don't have a decent amount of liquid cash in excess of your minimum down payment, closing costs, and expenses such as inspections, it might be best for you to consider some of the other options I'm about to present. But before I do that, let me give you some concrete information so you know what the market looks like. As I'm writing this video script, there are exactly 2,587 homes active for sale in the Triangle MLS. The TMLS encompasses 12 counties: Wake, Durham, Johnston, Harnett, Lee, Chatham, Alamance, Orange, Vance, Person, Granville, and Franklin. In the last 30 days, 3,400 homes were sold and only 2,170 homes came on the market. The market is tight. The population of the combined statistical area is a little over 2 million people, and that means right now there is one home for sale for every 803 people who live here. And this doesn't include the 70 people a day moving to Raleigh. The ratio of homes for sale to current population isn't the most scientifically rigorous measure of housing inventory, but it does allow us to compare different areas of the triangle to each other with a standard measure. In Cary, there are currently 139 homes for sale, and the population of Cary is about 166,000. So there's one home for every 1,200 people in Cary. If you look at this chart, you can see some areas where there are more homes for sale per population. Again, I know this isn't the greatest metric because we don't actually know how many people are moving into a particular area. There might be more people trying to buy in Fuquay than in Cary right now, but there's no easy way to get that information. And honestly, just based on my personal experience, I think this chart does tell us something about the level of competition in each area. And when you see the data I present later in the video about days on market in the green areas, I think you'll agree with me. The more homes there are available, the less competition there is, and the easier it'll be to get a home under contract. So let's just go with that. When looking at this chart, the number on the right tells you how many people there are per home available for sale. So the higher the number, the more the competition. And let me repeat, this is not how many people are competing for homes. This is just how many people live in the city compared to how many homes there are for sale. And we're assuming that there is some correlation between these numbers and how many bids homes are receiving. Fuquay, Clayton, Wendell, and Wake Forest are all great options for buying a home right now. And I've definitely had good experiences with some of these very recently. There definitely is still competition, particularly for existing homes. The biggest difference I'm seeing is that new construction in these areas is able to provide some decent options without being completely sold out. There are definitely some variations in competition depending on price point, but for example, a new home community I called yesterday in Holly Springs sold out their first phase in pre-sales all the way up to $700,000. But in Fuquay, I'm still seeing new construction inventory available for pre-sales and even some models available to walk through. Just FYI, I'm going to be doing a video very soon about new construction neighborhoods that will be breaking ground in 2021. These are options that are not yet marketed anywhere, so stay tuned for that. All right, so we have some frame of reference, but do you know anything about any of these towns? The only videos I've done on any of these green light towns, I kind of like the way that sounds, green light towns. Anyway, the only green light towns I've done a video on so far are Fuquay and Hillsborough. I'm also going to say that some people have told me that they've driven through Fuquay and they don't like it. I just spoke with someone yesterday who told me that Fuquay just is not for them. Now, Fuquay does have a lot of industrial type stuff mixed in throughout the town. It's not hidden away in the back where the ugly stuff is supposed to go. And if you hit some of the main drags, you're going to see some old warehouses and some buildings that are ready for renovations. I'm leaving that in there. Now, those renovations are coming. Fuquay has a lot of plans for the town, but you should know that a big part of Fuquay is really beautiful. I have a tour that I take people on when they're here deciding which area to live in, and everyone that goes on my tour falls in love with Fuquay. There's a lot to love about Fuquay, but it's easy to miss if you just hit a couple of the main drags and miss the rest of the town. Anyway, you can see my Fuquay video here and maybe I'll do a driving tour of my favorite drives around Fuquay in the future. My video of Hillsborough is here. I do want to mention just a quick thing about real estate in Fuquay. The median days on market is 5 and the average day on the market is 14. So there are still a lot of homes selling very fast and some with competing offers, but there are still exceptions, but it isn't a given. This home sold in 2 days and closed on January 20th. They made a full priced offer and there were no competing offers. Maybe they just didn't wait long enough to see if anyone else wanted to make an offer. Sometimes that happens, but it's super cute and in really nice condition. Also 3,000 square feet with 5 bedrooms for $389. I'll take that. So now let's look at those other 3 green light towns. Is there decent shopping? What about recreation, crime? I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by some of these options. If you want to limit the bidding war situation, and I did say limit, not eliminate, try some of these towns. Clayton is an adorable little town in Johnston County. Clayton is the county seat of Johnston County, so it's a bit removed from the triangle, but things are going to change in Clayton due to the expansion of Highway 540 and of Interstate 40. Clayton is about 11 minutes from the intersection of the new 540 and I-40, which is going to make commuting much easier to many locations of the triangle. Clayton has a really adorable downtown shopping district, and locals here are very loyal to these businesses. Most everything in Clayton is smaller, locally owned shops. There are some great little coffee shops and boutiques and restaurants. The general store is a big favorite, and you can get local jams, jellies, produce, and handmade products here. They do have a section of town with the obligatory strip mall and Walmart, but that's pretty much it for big box stores. If you want things like Target and other big box stores, they're not too far away, about 15 minutes at the White Oak Shopping Center in Garner. There are some nice parks in Clayton. Clayton Community Park, the Clayton River Walk, and Clemens Educational State Forest are popular outdoor activities. Clayton River Walk does connect to the Neuse River Greenway Trail, a 33-mile trail along the Neuse River that ends near Wake Forest. Deep River Brewing Company is a popular hangout. Clayton is low in crime and actually quite a bit lower than many other parts of Raleigh. The median home price in Clayton is $226,000 and expected to rise by about 8% over the next year. Housing prices are noticeably cheaper in Clayton, and if you can get up above $300,000, you can get a really nice home. Look how cute this property is in Flowers Plantation. 3,500 square feet for $385,000. It was on the market for 10 days and there were not multiple offers, and this is a beautiful planned gated community. Wendell is a small town located on the east side of Wake County. It was named after the poet Oliver Wendell Holmes. However, the locals pronounce it a little bit differently. I pronounce it Wendell, and so do most other people that I encounter. Wendell's about 22 minutes to downtown Raleigh and about 45 minutes to RTP in rush hour, according to Google, but I think the trip to RTP might be a little longer in reality. Shopping in Wendell is similar to Clayton, although Wendell is smaller. There are some really cute shops downtown, and of course the obligatory general store. Your big box stores are located in nearby Knightdale at the Shops at Midway, which is about 10 minutes away. There are some favorite restaurants in downtown Wendell, including Everest Kitchen with its Asian-inspired menu. They serve Indian, Chinese, and Thai, along with Philly cheesesteaks and burgers in case Uncle Bob isn't so adventurous in his food choices. Locals also love the Bearded Bee Brewery and Sam's Flying Scoops, serving locally made ice cream out near the airport. Popular outdoor activities include the Robertson Mill Pond Preserve and the Turnip Seed Nature Preserve. Robertson Preserve is an 85-acre county park. It's a great place for paddleboarding, kayaking, and canoeing. There's really cool cypress tree swamp that makes for interesting paddling, and there's also a nice in-town park with walking trails, tennis courts, playground, and frisbee golf. Wendell is also a low-crime area. The median home price in Wendell is $233,000. It's expected to rise by 9% this year. And look at these properties sitting on the market for 96 days, 98 days, 110 days, 138 days. These are all sold now, but they were actually listed by the builder and buyers were given an opportunity to make offers. A recent Cary builder that I spoke with was taking names for a lottery. They had way more names than homes available, and whoever won the lottery would get the chance to make an offer. At least in Wendell, you have the time to offer. And yes, you do give up some convenience living in Wendell, but honestly, it's only 20 minutes from downtown Raleigh and 10 minutes from the nearest suburb with tons of shopping. I see people fighting over even getting an appointment to view a home in Cary in the $600,000s. For $500,000, you could buy this home in Wendell in this amazing neighborhood with miles of walking trails and resort-style amenities. This home has been on the market for 91 days and the price just dropped $15,000. You're probably not going to have to fight anyone for this house. Wake Forest is another one of my favorite towns. I actually forgot that I did a video about Wake Forest recently, but I didn't give that much information about about the town itself, so you can watch it here, but I'll also talk a little bit more about Wake Forest. Of all the towns on my list, Wake Forest probably has the best shopping, amenities, restaurants, and just overall self-containment. If you live in Wake Forest, you're probably going to find just about everything you need within the town itself. You won't need to drive to neighboring towns for shopping or amenities, and it has a super cute and thriving downtown. Often you'll see food trucks along White Street, and they have festivals and events all the time, and hopefully that stuff will start up again soon. There is tons to do in Wake Forest. It has amazing parks and one of the best cities in the Triangle for the outdoors. Honestly, it might even be better than Cary, and y'all know that I love Cary, but Wake Forest has the advantage of being in the Falls Lake Recreation Area, and Cary's Bond Lake just can't beat that. Wake Forest is an absolute haven for hikers and cyclists and kayakers. It's seriously amazing the amount of outdoor stuff there is to do. Forest Ridge Park and the Falls Lake Dam Recreation Area get you to the head of the Neuse River Trail, but then there's also the Wake Forest Reservoir, Joyner Park with its amazing recreation center, and that's where they host the Wake Forest Dance Festival every year, and the golf courses. Arnold Palmer got his start in golf at Wake Forest University, which was originally located in downtown Wake Forest. It's now in Winston-Salem, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, because of Arnold Palmer, golf became a pretty popular sport in Wake Forest. They've got a ton of golf courses, especially for a small town. If you need inside stuff to do, there's this place called The Factory that has tons of different sports, ice skating, restaurants, and boutique shopping. It's a little bit like a mall combined with an indoor recreation center. It's really cool, and there's plenty more I could touch on about Wake Forest, but it really needs its own separate video. Wake Forest has really low crime, even lower than the other places we have discussed, if that was possible, because they already had low crime. The median home price in Wake Forest is about $355,000 and projected to rise around 7% in the next year. 70% of the homes currently listed in Wake Forest are new construction, so those builders are really doing a great job of helping to keep the inventory more balanced. But for more resale properties, the average days on the market is 19 days, and that means that a decent number of properties that you're not going to have to fight to get. Look at this one. This home closed on January 22nd. It took 11 days to get under contract, and there were not multiple offers. This is a beautiful home. So what's up? What are you giving up to live in Wake Forest? Why are people fighting so hard to live in Cary when there's beautiful places like this? I think it's a couple reasons. The first one is Capitol Boulevard. I really dislike driving on Capitol Boulevard. The traffic is awful, and honestly, it reminds me of Florida, but once you get past all the commercial and industrial stuff, it's like driving into heaven. And there are ways you can get around Capitol if you don't want to drive on it, but it's kind of the straightest shot to Raleigh, which by the way is about 30 minutes to downtown. But there's also plenty of nice spots in North Raleigh that are only 20 minutes or so from Wake Forest. It's also a haul to get to RTP, and the traffic on 98 or 540 heading west during rush hour can be brutal, at least from a North Carolinian perspective. When I speak to people from LA, they laugh at me when I say anything about traffic, so it's really all relative. If you want to learn more about any of these towns, I did a driving tour of a lot of the towns on the list, and you can watch it right here. Thanks y'all for watching me today. See you next week.